Hey, good day. This is Lisa Renee with Faithfully Focused Friday, and I am so happy to be back and continue on with the comparison of a mental toughness handbook that I have been reading by Damon Zahariades. If I said that correctly, I apologize if I did not. And we're comparing it with what the Bible says about mental toughness and emotional stability. We've actually gotten to a point in the book, it's part 2, pivotal factors in developing mental toughness. And I'm going to quote Damon here in the beginning of the chapter. He talks about it's about developing the cognitive mettle, the strength, mettle, mettle, to press forward when things fail to go according to your plans. That requires courage, self-confidence, and mental fortitude. Absolutely. So it begins by talking about mental toughness and emotional mastery. And in that, you have to have and understand the value of self-awareness. You've got to be able to see how your emotions control your actions. You've got to be able to understand when your reaction is not very appropriate and is harmful to not only yourself but to others that you're projecting it onto. You have to have a role of empathy. You've got to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and understand how they feel and how your reactions to your own emotions can affect somebody else. That's all part of the self-awareness, and be able to have a role of empathy. And you have to be able to answer questions like, how would I feel if I were in their shoes? What if somebody said that to me? What if somebody displayed their anger on me? How would I feel? That's being empathetic with somebody else. You got to understand when they're having a reaction. You have to think, well, how would I react in their situation? What they're going through? How would I respond? The type of person you want to be is what you want to see in them. You want to understand that how they're reacting is how maybe you don't want to react, or how they're reacting is how you want to react. And that's a part of being empathetic, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And mastering your emotions is not an easy thing. It's something learned. It's something that we aren't born with, just like we're not born with mental toughness. You have to learn the ability to master your emotions, how you respond. You got to reflect on both the positive and negative emotions you're feeling. If you're angry, why are you angry? Is there really a good reason to be angry? I had something similar. So, for example, I don't know if you've heard me talk about my husband and I have had this completely different view. We have a wood-burning furnace. And in the winter, it will use that heat from the wood furnace to come through into the heat in the house. We have a heat pump. We have regular AC and heat, but it can be run on wood as well as heat or hot water. We don't need to use it, but my husband enjoys the fire and the smoke and chopping the wood and all that. I can't stand the smoke. I have very terrible allergic reaction. My eyes tear up, my throat hurts, I tend to just start coughing. And so I asked him not to use it, and his initial response was, well, I'm not going to stop using it. I enjoy it. I'm like, really? So I would get very angry. And the other day, we've come to a compromise. He can use it in the winter. He was going to use it all summer just to heat the hot water. And I was like, summer's mine. I'll give you the winter because I don't like being out in the cold anyway. But once it comes around and it warms up and I can open these windows, you're done until it gets cold again. So he reluctantly agreed, but that was a compromise. So the other day, here's where my anger almost got the best of me. The other day, he said, we've got a bird building a nest in the chimney and we can't have that. And he injured himself, so he can't climb up there very easily to cap it off. So he was going to light a fire and burn the bird out. I immediately got really, really angry. And so I am able now, if I'm angry, to just not say anything and think about it. And I did think about it. When I finally realized that it was an irrational anger, because even if he had burned the wood, the wind was coming from the south, which would blow it away from the house, and I would not be affected. However, it was too late. He already climbed up there anyway and just capped it off and got rid of the nest. So, but if I had responded initially, it would have caused a huge argument. So you've got to learn to control your emotions, realize when maybe the emotion you're feeling is irrational. Mine was, because I hadn't thought the situation through. So there's a lesson right there. Be careful and at least think a little bit before you speak. Meditate. If you meditate, you can master your emotions a little bit. Sitting in silence, in quiet, in prayer, focusing on your faith and on God and Jesus and how they would react in situations. And that inner critic we've talked about before, you've got to really learn to silence that, especially if you're sitting in silence yourself. Voices tend to come up, and things that have been bothering you, they're going to start telling you, well, you know, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't think that way. You shouldn't feel that way. You should be angry over this. You should get mad at that person that did you wrong. And you just need to take action even when you're uncertain of the outcome. You've got to take control and think about it. Okay, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling this way? Is it a true reaction that I should have? Even if it is, I need to just bite my tongue sometimes, turn the other cheek, you know that old saying? And above all, you know, it's something so simple, but an easy way to control your emotions is not to be tired, not to be hungry. You gotta sleep well. You gotta eat well. Exercise is huge importance. Getting the oxygen flow in your brain and in your body and moving your body, and you know, that helps heal, and endorphins, and gives you more positive thoughts and more positive reactions to things. So overall, he discusses in here, you can have you can do an exercise and think about all the times you had those negative emotions and write down how you reacted. Then write down how maybe you should react in the future. Like, if you feel angry, you might commit to, like, biting your tongue. Just don't say anything. Take 5 deep breaths. Take 5, at least. And then rethink how you feel. Rethink it. So I enjoy that chapter because I can relate to it. I can relate to it quite easily. I tend to, in my past, I've tended to fly off the handle instead of think. So that's something I'm working on. I've found a few Bible verses that I like that go along with this. Let's see, the first one is Proverbs, what is it? 16. No, 12. This is Proverbs 11:12. So I like to paraphrase, and this one basically says, when you haven't mastered your emotions, and like you're angry with your neighbor, say, if they talk about neighbor, then you are void of wisdom. you have not the understanding of how to control your emotions. You haven't mastered how to control your emotions. But those that understand that will not say anything and not react out of that anger. So I understand that there's different interpretations for different verses in the Bible. This is how it resounds in my soul, in my heart. Another one is from Luke 6:45. Is it 6:45? Yes. So basically, if you have a good heart, you're going to bring forth goodness. But if you're truly evil, you're going to resound evil out. You're going to spew it out of the mouth. For the abundance of the heart is what comes out of your mouth. What you truly feel in your heart is what's going to come out of your mouth. So you need to learn to have that goodness within you. Let God's grace and goodness fill you up so that it spills over. I heard a song on a radio station that I like to listen to, and it was talking about fill my cup. Not that I just want to be filled, but that there's enough that it's overflowing and it goes out into everything you do, into every person that you meet. That all that goodness that He's given you inside just spills over. Fill my cup, Lord, and let it spill over. I mean, that was huge today for me. Let's look at Ephesians. Ephesians is always my favorite. Ephesians is probably my favorite book in the Bible. Putting on the whole armor of God. You have to be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. The devil's going to throw. The closer you are to God, the more the devil's going to come at you. That's just the way it is. The more you're going to get hit with impatience and intolerance and anger, and you have to put on the whole armor of God. Let Him live within inside you so that you can fight these negative emotions off. And at least fight off your reactions that are negative. There was another Ephesians in here. Let's go back. This is chapter 4. 26. Even though you get angry, because everybody gets angry, don't sin. Don't commit a sin. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Never go to bed angry. I know you've heard that one. In Ephesians 4, 31 and 32. Let all your bitterness and anger and evil speaking, let it go. It says in here, be put away from you. Have no malice, have no ill intent, nothing. And I think one of my Blessed Girl t-shirts has this on the back. And be kind to one another, forgiving one another. I mean, don't be offended by everything that somebody else says or does. You just have to forgive. And I think the shirt says something like, kind people are my kind of people. And I love that shirt. So anyway, that is all I have for today. There was a couple more verses, but I won't keep you any longer. I try not to make these more than 10 to 15 minutes, and we're right there in the middle of that. So I hope you enjoy your Faithfully Focused Friday every day of the week. And if you like this video at all, please give me a thumbs up. I certainly appreciate any boost you could give me with these YouTube algorithms. They're crazy, aren't they? Well, anyway, thank you for watching and listening, and you have a blessed weekend coming up. Bye-bye.